Shalom, Mishpaka, Shemi, Akasha, Yisrael. Haya Nethmatesha, Yehuda, Tehillah Yahweh, Tehillah Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Shabbat Shalom, family. My name is Akazi Yisrael, and I exist from the tribe of Yehuda. Praise Yahweh and praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh. All right. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. And do I have a class for you? And what's cool about this class is it's also going to be intertwined with the class about the Adamites that I'm working on right now as well. But I wanted to give you this class right here to give you something to ponder about this Shabbat. It's the class about BOAZ, where we will be sharing with you all the esoteric knowledge of the symbolism of BOAZ, right? So Solomon's temple. Well, before we get started, let's go ahead and offer up our tefillah, which is our Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, to our most wonderful and celestial Father Yahweh, because without him, none of this is even possible. So I want to just stand up and face the east and offer up our praise. Tefillah, Aveinu Sabashamayim, Yikadar Shemeakar, Tavamaku Teakar, Yer Serizonkar, Kivashamayim, Kain Ba'adas, Alekum Kainu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslak Lanu, Alkarteinu, Kimo Chaso Kim, Gamanatanu, Lakotein Lanu, Veal Tefienu, Ladeni Sayon, Kakal Seinu, Minara, Kilaka, Mamlaha, Begivada, Beteferet, Leoleme, Olemin, Sila. Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh. All right. Let me get my coffee right here. So, dealing with Solomon's temple, right? The name BOAZ was given to one of the two massive bronze pillars at the entrance. Bronze. Just as we are fine brass or fine bronze, right? Burned in the furnace. These two massive bronze pillars at the front of Solomon's temple also correlates with identifying a people. Check this out. BOAZ is a central figure in the book of Ruth, meaning though the book of Ruth is titled Ruth, the central or the most important figure in that book is really BOAZ. Not even really Ruth, but BOAZ, right? And in the book of Ruth, serving as a model of an upright, compassionate leader whose actions secured the royal lineage of Israel. That's what the whole book is about. It's about how BOAZ is securing the royal lineage of Israel again. So he is the central figure, the one to keep our eyes on, right? Now, beyond his historical role as a wealthy landowner in Bethlehem, he is spiritually significant as well as even identified as a kinsman's redeemer, right? And a namesake for the temple in Jerusalem, meaning the name likely means in him is strength or by his strength. Now, the pair, the one standing on the left or the north side, facing the north side of the temple, is BOAZ, was paired with the right pillar, Yakin. And Yakin means he will establish. This is talking about Yahweh. Yahweh will establish. This is also talking about the Messiah, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Yahweh Ben Yahweh, he will establish together. Now, they symbolizes Israel's dependency upon Yahweh's strength as well as the stability of his covenant. Now, BOAZ's marriage to Ruth, a Moabite converted, was a pivotal moment in the history of Israel's monarchy. I'm going to explain that as well. Why? Ruth was a Moabite, right? Not one can really consider Israel. Though Moab comes from give me a second. Abraham's nephew Lot, right? They broke off and became their own little thing because they don't come through Abraham's grandchildren, right? But what this correlates to in the spiritual allegorical essence is our people here in America have now attached themselves to a false nation called African American. And Yahweh Ben Yahweh is the spiritual Boaz who is coming to restore our royal lineage as being true Israel by creating a new covenant and remarrying us, giving us the surname Israel again, our real name, our white stone, right? That only you receive when you study, and Yahweh chooses you to awaken your mind, and then you receive your white stone that no man knoweth but you who received it, right? Going into Revelation chapter 2, verse 17. That's like that. So just take it with that, right? Now, the ancestry of King David, Boaz and Ruth had a son named Obed, serving to work. That's what Obed means. Serving to work in any sense, dressing and keeping. Dress from the Hebrew reference 6215 is to make accomplished, advance, as well as apt. See, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, he came to accomplish something and to make us advance a people who was at a disadvantage. He is come to make us apt, means giving us special knowledge to a people who was just spiritually and mentally dead, right? And keep from the Hebrew reference 8104, properly hedged about as with thorns, meaning he is putting a defense around us. When you walk in the light, Yahweh will begin to protect you with a hedge. Now, a hedge is something that covers on all sides or nearly all sides, meaning you may have a gap. Why? So that you can further be battle tested and hardened with temptation here and temptation there. Now, you may fall, you may slip, but it's all about perseverance, standing up, and overcoming. Right? That's how the humble and the meek shall inherit the earth. If you came into the knowledge and you was poof, poof, pow, pow, perfect off the jump street, then with no real strategy of how to overcome wickedness, you would just fall again. But with us having a hedge about on all sides or nearly all sides, as you get tempted, you learn to overcome the tempter. And you learn to discern better. You learn to grow. You learn what it feels like to overcome, right? So that's what comes with apt, right? Or that's what comes with being or having a hedge about, as with thorns. And that is to guard and protect. So you are protected. But as you are being protected and you still have to stay in America, you are still faced with temptation, right? And these are things you have to learn to work yourself around these things and be able to remain pure, right? So that's what that's going with. Now, who became the father of Jesse, who is the grandfather of King David, right? Lineage, right? So this is a direct ancestor of Yahweh Ben Yahweh, which is a direct ancestor of us. Praise Yahweh. Now, a typology of Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Typology means the theological Boaz is often seen as a type or a foreshadowing of Yahweh Ben Yahweh, a redeemer who pays a debt he did not owe to rescue those who could not save themselves. And we'll be looking at Matthew chapter 15, verse 24 for that. A true moral principle describing the sons of Yahweh being rescued, right? Which is the role of the kinsman's redeemer, right? Again, and that's what Yahweh Ben Yahweh is. He is our kinsman, meaning he is our family, and he's also our redeemer, right? So that's what that comes into effect. Now, again, the role of the kinsman redeemer, Boaz, is best known for filling the legal and moral role. Now, the redeemer is of a property, right? Buy back land sold by a relative in poverty to keep it within the family clan. As well, he is known as a restorer of lineage, right? Marrying the widow of a deceased relative is known as a levirate marriage to father an heir who would carry on the deceased man's name. Levirate means a marriage custom in which a man marries his brother's widow, right? And then we look at to why. Well, why did he do this? Well, to provide protection. offer security to vulnerable family members as Boaz did for Naomi and Ruth, who were destituted widows, right? Boaz is seen as a noble character. Generosity, he exceeded the requirements of the Mosaic law by leaving extra grain for Ruth to glean and to ensure her safety in his fields. He shows forth integrity. He insisted on following proper legal channels to marry Ruth, even though he was not the closest relative with a claim to her. Praise Yahweh. Universalism. His willingness to marry a Moabite foreigner demonstrated a heart for the outsiders of symbolizing Yahweh's inclusion of all people into his family. Praise Yahweh. The pillars of severity and the moon in the Kabbalah, Boaz is the left hand pillar of the tree of life, which means Yakin would be the right hand pillar of the tree of life. Here we go again with Yad, right? Or Yud, right? Yad in Hebrew means hand, and it tells you to follow, it tells you to go towards the right hand road. Look how we're making a full circle with this information, right? So it is often associated with the sephira of the Guvara, which means to strengthen or severity, the black pillar. Unlike its counterpart, Yakin, the right hand pillar, the pillar of mercy, and the sun, which again we know is a homonym for S-O-N, the tree of life, the white pillar. Severity is the harshness, sternness, or rigor, the intensity or sharpness of rigid exactness or accuracy. Again, the one with the white pillar. White is representing that light, like the sun. The sun is not yellow, it's a white light. It's a bright light, which is a bright spiritual illuminating force that helps enlightens one's mind to being exact, to being sharp, to showing forth intensity, to showing forth strength and rigor, right? Harshness even. Absolutely. Now, mercy is the compassionate or the kindly forbearance shown towards an offender, an enemy, or other person in one's power. It's showing forth compassion, pity, or even benevolence. It's the celestial versus the terrestrial. Now, some Masonic traditions top Yakin pillar with a celestial orb, the right hand, dealing with power, and Boaz with a terrestrial orb, the left pillar. Now, the name Yakin is esoterically translated as he shall establish, or Yahweh will establish. Now, divine stability. If Boaz provides the strength of the material, then Yakin provides the foundation of the spirit. Esoterically, it is the firmness of the divine will. So let's take a step back. Again, when looking at the relationship between Yahweh and the Son of God, right? Yahweh Ben Yahweh, one is one you can't see, but you can see his works. And then the other is one you see proof of the one you can't see, again, proven by his works, right? So, and this is why Colossians tell us that the Son of God is the visible image of the invisible God, Yahweh. Yahweh sets up the spiritual, and then the materialized Son, the carbon copy Son, the one that is before all things born, which is why he is the firstborn, right, is the terrestrial side with the celestial mindset. So again, it tells us that the left-hand pillar is black. Again, correlating with us being black in pigmentation. And the right pillar having forth the spiritual essence of Yahweh's very existence of Yud, which is the omnipotent, omnipresent one who can cause his mind to be inserted into a host. That's why our Bible tells us the Lord or God of hosts. What is a host? It's something that a spirit can come in and dwell in and be a host, almost like a medium. Not going into all that crazy stuff. I'm just trying to have an example for us to be able to follow, okay? So that's why, again, it's called Lord of Hosts, because the body is not God. The mind is. The body is just the vessel for the spirit to live in the terrestrial realm outside of the spiritual realm. But you have your spiritual mindset to live rigorously, to live with sharpness and aptitude, to live with severity of harshness towards wickedness, as well as abstaining from breaking the law and showing forth intensity and accuracy at being a righteous individual. Okay, so that's what that's talking about right there. Again, that's why it's the divine will, and that's why it's two pillars, one and one, right in front of Solomon's temple. I and my Father are one. So that's again showing forth proof, okay, of what I'm saying here. Now, the number 10 in some numerological systems, Yakin is linked to the number 10, which is Yud. Again, right hand power. It's all verified. What is Yud? Again, Yud is in every single alphabet, literally. So that's why it's the omnipresent one. It's the very spirit of Yahweh, because it's the first in his name, and it's the 10th with the one in infinity, right? So again, Yakin is linked to the number 10 of perfection, completion, or the number 1, Aleph, right? Which is the monet or the unity of Yud is the number 10 in the Hebrew meaning, right hand power, turn to the right. Now, the creative phallus is in many phallic cult interpretations of ancient architectural. Yakin represents impregnating the dark receptive womb of Boaz to create the middle path. I'm going to read that again. In many phallic cult interpretations of ancient architecture, Yakin represents impregnating, right? The dark receptive womb. Where is that dark receptive womb? The mind, right? Creating a middle path. The wisdom is of the tree of life. Yakin is topped by wisdom, the first flash of intuition. The third pillar, right? I told you it was two pillars, but now we have a middle path. We're going to get to that right now. Now, the third pillar is the true spiritual enlightened ones, who is said to occur only when they initiate and stand between the two pillars, which is that middle path. Check this out. This invisible third pillar is the middle path, where the active Yakin and passive Boaz are balanced, making forth the Trinity. Going to say that again. The third pillar, or the true spiritual enlightenment, is said to occur when an innate stands between the two pillars. This invisible third pillar is the middle path, where the active Yakin, the active spiritual, right, celestial mindset, and the passive Boaz, the terrestrial living, are balanced, equilibrium, and it is the Trinity, right? And then the arch, right? In some traditions, an arch connects the two, symbolizing that the kingdom is only established when strength and stability are joined in equilibrium. Now, leaving off with that, again, there are a lot of different Hebrew camps out here, and everyone thinks that Yeshua, Yahweh Washi, and all these other names are going to come and save them. But one thing we have to do is humble ourselves. Humble ourselves. If you look something up and it says something different than what you thought it said, it's okay to humble yourself and follow the evidence. Let the evidence do the talking. There is so many camps out here. Now that we have strength in numbers, we lack stability. And we can only be stable with one. When you look at John 5:43, I come in my Father's name, then you have to follow the formula. Again, it tells you that the name has to be the exact same. It tells you it has to be similar in every way. It has to be. When you literally look at the words and you break those words down with the concordance, and then you ask yourself, okay, it's the Son. The Son is saying this to the Father. He's coming in the Father's name. Exodus chapter 23, verse 20 and 21 says that Yahweh is going to place his name in this angel that he is going to set out before us to lead us back to our land, right? Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 tells us, for unto us a child is born, a son is given. Son in Hebrew is Ben. So this son is given. Ben also means a builder of the house, a builder of the temple. What is that? We are the temple, right? And it says that this one, his name shall be called. His name, not his epithet, not a nickname, not an abbreviation, right? Not a different name. It says his name shall be called the everlasting Father. Well, who is the everlasting Father? Yahweh, not Yeshua. It's a whole bunch of Yeshuas. It's like over 30 Yeshuas in the Bible. That's a common name. The one that is coming, that's not a common person. He is our kinsman's redeemer. He is Yahweh. Yahweh told Abraham he is going to come himself. He didn't say he was going to send a common man to come and do this work. He said he was going to come himself after 400 years of us being in the land that is not ours. He will come himself. He says it again. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 11. When I both search out my sheep, I will bring my sheep. I will rescue my sheep from the wolves. That's a personal pronoun. Then it tells us in Jeremiah 23, verse 6, that his name shall be called the Lord Yahweh, our righteousness. So we have all of these different specks of evidence proving that Yahweh himself would come. So why would he name himself a common name? And then when we look at the book of Hebrews, chapter 1, verse 3, says that he was given a name exceedingly great over all the angels. Yahweh. So the Son's name is Yahweh, right? He's coming in his Father's name. So what's the Father's name? Yahweh. Son, Yahweh. I've come in my Father's name. So that means the Son's name is Yahweh. So Ben, Yahweh. Son, Yahweh. Who's the Father? Yahweh. Who's the Son? Yahweh. It is time for us to really stomach that information. No one else is coming. We are at the end. We are finna cross the finish line, my people. All these different doctrines is pseudo, and we need to not be pseudo. We need to be stable. So I pray with this class, you enjoy it, you feast upon it, you share it, you talk about it, you debate it. Understand, we all can't make it. That's what the book of give me a second. Give me a second. right here. Zechariah, right? Chapter 13, verse 7 and 8 and 9. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. With an S at the end. Again. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Why? Because they hold on to pseudo knowledge. They are too egotistical to say, hey, I was wrong. Look, we are all wrong at some point, and it takes a real man or strong woman to admit, hey, I goofed up right here. I thought this said one thing, but when I looked into it more, it was something different. But this is how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to admit it, and we're going to study it, and then we're going to go past it. Because we're learning how to wake up. You just don't wake up, right? But 2/3 of us will be cut off and killed. But the third shall be left therein. And what is Yahweh going to do with that 1/3? And I, again, personal pronoun, will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them. A kinsman's redeemer. Right? Them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, Yahweh, and I will hear them. And I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord Yahweh is my God. So with that being said, family, I hope you have a wonderful Shabbat. I can't wait to see y'all in this Adam class. I'm going to try to finish it tonight. It's a lot of definitions, a lot of synonyms. I still got to go through a few more books, but I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat. And please share this information, debate it, talk about it, because again, the proof is all in the Bible. It's all right here, right? When you look at the scriptures, it all supports that Yahweh Ben Yahweh is that right one, is the only one. No one else is coming. They don't have enough time to gather up anybody and teach anything different. Yahweh Ben Yahweh is that one. And I promise you, once you get to that point and you can just let your ego go, life becomes very easy and very beautiful. And you can just really just focus on, after that, conquering your nigga. Conquering that terrestrial side and being part of the spiritual, living your life in a better state. That's what we all have to do, right? I don't have any more time to point fingers at false teachers. Yahweh knows them by name, and Yahweh is going to deal with that. It's just my job now to continue to study, continue to teach, and continue to be a doer of the word. So with that being said, I hope y'all have, again, a wonderful Shabbat. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh Ben Yahweh bless you. May your brothers and sisters bless you with peace, love, and understanding, as well as petition. And I can't wait to see y'all in the next one. Shalom, shalom.